Hi ladies, in this video we're going to go through the theory for compound interest and we'll also do some questions from 4D. Now you've already covered simple interest, so compound interest though is what you'll see more likely in real life. So if you were to take out a loan, the interest that you're charged is more than likely going to be compound interest, or if you invest money, it's often compound interest as well. So just to explore the difference between the two, in your textbook, they do it quite well. So we've got a table here. The principal investment is $250. And it does say in the wording 12%, but in the table it says 10%. So let's go with the 10% because that is what all the values are. So you can see 0 being our initial time, okay? So we're investing $250 to begin with. So $250 for both simple interest and $250 for compound interest. After 1 year, we've taken 10% of the $250. So we get $25. And after 1 year, they're both the same. They're both $275. But after the second year, the simple interest again increases by $25, and it does for every year. So you can see all the way up to 10 years, it's increased by $25. But for the compound interest, we're taking 10% of $275. So instead of going up by $25 like the simple interest did, we're going up by $27.50. So that's why you get $302.50. Then after the third year, you're getting 10% on the previous amount for compound interest. So 10% of $302.50 is $30.25. So after 3 years, it's $332. So you can see after 10 years, with simple interest, you've got the same interest rate, 10%. You've got the same principal, $250. But simple interest, after 10 years, you've got $500 in the bank. Whereas with compound interest, you've got $648.44. So compound interest, always better, especially with investments. But if you're taking out a loan, obviously simple interest would be better. I'll just scroll down so you can see the difference between the two graphs. So we've done simple interest before, and I've shown you how it's linear. Compound interest is curved. Okay, so you can see how it's increasing by a greater amount each year. Okay, so if you were to ever look at these graphs, if you take out a mortgage in the future, you will see the curves. It'll probably be the other way around because you're actually making payments over time. All right, let's get back to the theory. So compound interest formula, there it is there. So the amount is A, P is your principal again. Okay, so P always stands for principal. R is your percentage rate, and T is your time in years. So you would have seen a similar formula when we did number patterns and recurrence relations. We can also, so this is for an investment, but you can use the same formula if you were doing a loan. Okay, so same formula, just doesn't matter whether it's an investment or a loan. If you need to work out how much interest you've earned, you just take how much you've got, so the value of your investment or the value of your loan, and subtract your initial amount invested. All right, so let's have a look at a couple of questions. Now, what I'm also going to show you is how to do this on your calculator, because in year 11, you're probably not going to use Financial Solver very much, but when you go into further maths next year, you will be using Financial Solver quite a bit. So it's probably a good idea to get used to using it right now. But you do need to know the formula involved, so make sure you use that as well. So perhaps just using both, one, using the formula to get your answer, and then using the calculator to check. Okay, let's begin. So what we have here, oh gosh, in question 1, sorry, you don't know what I'm doing, but I was just about to write on a notepad and not on my tablet and wondering why it wasn't working. There we go. get my pen working now. All right, so we've got an amount of 3,500 is invested at 5%. Now, we know all these questions are going to be compound interest questions because it's in the compound interest section. But if it wasn't, then you need to take note whether it was compound interest or simple interest, okay, for 5 years. We want to calculate the final value. So let's identify everything. Oh, I don't want a black marker, sorry. Let's identify I want a black pen. Everything we have. So your principal amount is 3,500. Your rate is 5%, and your time is 5 years. Now, it will usually tell you how often it's compounding. So at the moment, it's not saying compounded every month or every week or every quarter, but next year in further maths, you will come across that. And I'm just going to quickly check if there's any questions in your textbook that do that. No, I don't think so. So these are just compounding periods every year. All right, let's write down the formula. So the amount is equal to P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of T. So let's substitute everything in. So 3,500, 1 plus 5 over 100 to the power of 5. And then just plug that all into your calculator. I'm just going to do it on my little handheld calculator. Oops. 1 plus 5 on 100 to the power of 5. Okay, so I get, just double checking that everything is written in correctly, 44,466. And we need to do it to 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money here. So it is 985, so it rounds to 99 cents. All right, question B, the total amount of money, total amount of interest earned. So that's just your second formula, which you can see here. Interest equals the amount minus the principal. So 4466.99 minus 3,500. So I'm just going to quickly do that on my calculator. And I get $966.99. And I probably should put my dollar sign in. And that was a terrible dollar sign. Let's just get rid of that line. All right. Now on your calculator, if you were to do this on your calculator, and I'll just get the calculator up, might make it a little bit smaller. And I might just start a new document because, get out of that. All right, so let's start a new one. And, oh gosh, what am I doing? New. Okay, so we just want to add a calculator. In your documents and settings, just change it. If it's not in approximate mode, put it in approximate or auto, not exact. Okay, so financial solver, menu, finance solver. All right, so N is, and you can see it down the bottom here, tells you what the things stand for. So N is your number of payments, so that is 5, so T equals 5. The interest rate is also 5. Now your principal value depends whether it's an investment or a loan. So if you're putting money into the bank, think about if it was in your pocket. And if you gave it to the bank, you're actually subtracting it from your pocket. So we're going to put in, I can't even remember what the amount was, 3,500. Okay, PMT is just payments. We're not adding any payments, and we're probably not doing that until next year. And then FV is your future value, and you can see it down the bottom. So if I just press enter there it is. Okay, so I get the same amount, you can see there, $4,466.99. Don't round it. to $67. Don't go, oh yeah, you know, when I shop at Myer and something's worth $20.99, I pay $21. Doesn't work that way, girls, especially in accounting. Banks, you know, will keep everything to the cent, so it's 99 cents. I don't know what the answer is in the textbook, but let's stick to 99 cents. I don't know whether the textbook's going to be rounding it. All right, let's have a look at question 4. So question 4, we're doing now a loan. So question A, we use the same rule. So I'm just going to write that down. So A equals P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of T. Let's identify everything first. So I'm going to highlight it. So we've got our principal, our rate, and our T, our time. So principal equals 1,250. The rate is 7.5 and the time is 3. So let's substitute everything in. A equals 1,250 times 1 plus 7.5 over 100 to the power of T, which is 3. Put all that into your calculator. Power of 3, just double check that I've put everything in correctly. All right, and I get $1,552.87. Part B, the amount of interest owed. So your interest is just going to be the other way around this time, girls. So the principal, sorry, what was it the other? Oh, it's still amount minus principal, sorry. So 1552.87 subtract 1250. Okay, so minus 1250. So the interest you pay is $302.87. All right, so when you think about it, if you took out a loan maybe for Schoolies Week, let's say, I don't know what's worth 1,250, you're paying 7.5% interest, which is quite high. So your holiday would cost you an extra $300, which doesn't sound like much, but if you were borrowing heaps of money, it would probably seem like a lot more. All right, let's go to Finance Solver. So start up the top. So the number of time periods is 3. The interest rate was 7.5. Now, this time, the bank is giving you money. Okay, so that money is being put into your pocket. So it's going to be positive, and I can't remember what amount we had, 12,250. We're not making extra repayments, so we'll just leave that as 0. So your future amount, we'll just press enter, and there you go. And if you're wondering why it's a negative, because that amount is what you've got to give to the bank. Okay, so the negative and the positive can be quite confusing. You've basically got to say, is this money coming towards me? Then therefore it's positive. So in terms of a loan, the money is coming to you, so it's positive. The amount then that you owe to the bank, because you've got to give it back, is negative. In terms of an investment, the money you're putting into the bank, okay, so you're taking it away from your pocket. So it's got to be a negative, but at the end, the bank is giving it back to you, so it'll be positive. All right. Question 7 I put on because it says using a CAS calculator, but it's a bit different to what I just showed you using the Finance Solver. It's actually getting you to create a table and to draw a graph. So let's highlight the important parts. So we're borrowing $850. There's our interest rate for 8 years. So we've got to construct a table to display the total amount owed after 2 years for up to 8 years. Question B, how much is owed in total for 5 years and how much of that is interest? And then C, we've got to plot it. Okay, so I haven't actually tried this yet on the calculator because I wouldn't usually do this, but I know we need to go to lists and spreadsheet. So up here, we did do the same thing for simple interest. And I'm just going to refer to the textbook while I do this. All right, what do they call the second column? Amount. Okay, so we've got the time and then the amount, and then you need to put in the formula here. Okay, so our formula for this one, I might just read it straight from the textbook, will be easier than trying to move that. So we have $850 is our principal. So I'm just putting in the formula here, times 1 plus 13.25. And to the power, so we've got to the power of time. So when I do time, see how it goes bold? All right, and there are our values there. So just might double check that I've put it. Oops, I didn't do it over 100. Silly me, I need to just edit that. I was wondering why the values were so high. Okay. There we go. All right, there. That's a bit more realistic. Okay, so you can see your values here. So the first part of that question in question 7, so I'm just reading these questions here, but I'm doing it in my textbook so I can leave the calculator on the screen. We've constructed a table. Okay, so there's our table there, all the values in there. If you want to know whether to round, if you just hover over, oh, can we drag that, make it a bit bigger? Okay, so you can see the values and whether you need to do some rounding. Question B, how much is owed in total after 5 years? So in 5 years, it's $1,601.03. How much of that is interest? So 160. Oh gosh, sorry. That hasn't happened to me for a while, that silly thing. Okay, so what did we get? I was trying to remember what it was. 0, 1, 0, 0, 3. Thought so. Okay. All right, so that's how much it is after 5 years. So how much of that is interest? So interest is going to be that amount minus 850. So I might just do that on my calculator because I'm worried if I do it in my head, I'm going to make a mistake. Minus 850. All right, so $751.03 is interest. And then question C, plot the growth in the amount of money in the investment for 8 years and note the shape of the graph. So just to graph these two, so you're used to doing scatter plots, so just add data and statistics and that comes up. What we want on the bottom is time and then the amount. And you should see a curve because it increases each time. It is curved. It looks slightly straight, but it's definitely curved. So there's the graph of a compound interest. So remember, simple interest is a straight line. Compound interest is curved. All right, girls, a bit longer than I wanted, but hopefully that helps for 8D. Bye.